Hello everybody and welcome to Ebinotti Beauty. I am Ebinotti if you are new here. Today I'm going to show you guys how I did this very simple, casual, everyday slay with pink undertones. I am going shopping today. I'm taking you guys for a Walmart haul inspired by Tony Sivdalis's series, Bougie on a Budget. Just a casual shopping day today. I'm doing mostly sweats and obviously cozy wear because it's going to be freezing out there. So like literally freezing out there. So yeah, and then I'm just wearing sweats today so that it's easy to change just in case I need to try anything on at Walmart. Super excited about that. Just saw the post office lady who's not delivering my package today. I'm gonna pretend I'm not upset about that. I've been tracking a package from Shein to do part 2 of the most recent Shein try on haul that I did for you guys, and every day it's like, oh, expected delivery today. And then this morning when I woke up and I looked at it, it said delayed with no explanation, just delayed. So I see the Canada Post lady walking down the street and I'm just like, why the delay? Anyways, so sit tight if you guys want to check out how I got this makeup look. Okay, so starting off with primer today, we're going to use, this is a men's product. I've been using it for years if you've been watching my tutorials, and we're just going to rub that in all over the face and wait for it to get tacky. I'm also going to go in with a second primer today, the Wet n Wild one. I love this primer so much. It's got a really soft like luminescence in it, and it's super like watery feeling, so just an extra layer of hydration before foundation. Using the Wet n Wild Photo Focus. I love this for like a more full coverage foundation when you really just want to like clean slate. It's such an amazing foundation. So I'm going to use 2 different colors, starting with this darker color on the outer perimeters of the face, and then using this lighter color sort of in the T-zone where I like to highlight. Mixing these 2 colors together, I get my perfect color. And then using a Real Technique sponge today. I love these sponges. There's so many good sponges on the market now. This is definitely one of my favorite affordable ones. We're going to blend that in, making sure to really blend and press out this color because we want everything to blend together. I'm not trying to keep the highlight in the highlight spots. I really want to blend this all together to get my perfect color. For concealer, an oldie but a goodie, Maybelline Age Rewind. I think this is in the shade 10 Light. I'm just putting it in all the usual highlight places. This is going to be our first layer of concealer, so I really want to use this to conceal. And using it in the jawline to carve out my jaw. Same sponge, I'm using the butt end of it to start the chin and the jaw, so really kind of like creating those shapes and trying to keep it in that specific place for contouring. Then I'm going to flip it around to the pointy end and use that to blend out the eyes. And also start to contour out the nose by going up the sides of the nose to create a nice straight line for when we go in with cream contour to contour and chisel out the nose. For cream contour today, using the Wet n Wild bronzer stick. I love these ones. They're so great for doing a little bit of both, and they have a relatively decent color range. So putting it down the sides of the nose and between the eyes, I'm going to contour out my mouth a little bit, which is kind of funny. And using this brush from BH Cosmetics, I absolutely love their brush sets. If I could talk, that would be great. So taking the time with the cream contour to really blend it in, that's what it's all about. You don't want to like wipe, you just want to kind of like press and move it around as opposed to trying to buff. You will see me buff in a second around the eyes and the nose, but especially on the cheeks, you want to kind of press and just take your time with blending. It does take a while to blend out a cream contour. Sometimes if I'm in a rush, I completely skip this step and just use my powder bronzers to do this. But when I got the time, I like to use the cream contour. So going in around the eyes like this is a bit of a new technique for me. I like to, if I'm going to wear a lot of blush that day, I like to contour the eyes with the cream contour. So just kind of pressing it up through the temples and then around the cheeks to make that all one sort of contoured space. Excuse me. And then the jawline, you really want to take the time to blend out the jawline. You don't want to have any weird kind of shadows or patchiness, and it's really hard to see under there. So just take your time, get to know your lines, and always connect it like behind, sort of like in front of the ear. and around the jaw like that. And then I'm going to go down and do the skull as well, which is this line, before I blend out the mouth. Really take the time to blend out the mouth if you do this contour. I've like had a lot of times where I was in a rush or doing my makeup quickly and not taking the time to really look, and I didn't blend it out. And once you set it, it's set in place. There's no, you can't blend it out after it's been set with powder. So just make sure if you're gonna do the mouth like that, that you really like look up close with good lighting and check out that you've got that blended. So here I'm buffing a little bit more where I'm dragging the product, and that's also because I have a lot more moisture and moisturizer around my eyes, so I can kind of use it as a creamy product. Going in with one more layer of concealer. This is the same color that we used before. I'm just gonna re-highlight in very small, I wanna use a very small amount of product compared to what I used before to just add in that extra little touch of highlight just underneath the contour there to clean it up. And then going back to the sponge, using that to blend and press everything out one final time. You can really see the shapes of the face start to come out here. I'm really excited actually because I'm going to show you guys a new setting technique that I've been doing lately where I use a lot less powder. So we're not going to bake this down, which if you've been watching me do makeup for a long time, you know I love to bake. But lately, because it's winter time and our skin's a lot more dry this time of year, I've been using a lot less powder and I've been doing a completely brand new technique. So we're going to see that up next. As soon as we get all our cream products all set, you can add like a cream blush at this point if you want. You'll be seeing me do that go forward quite a bit. Get everything all pressed out, let it set for a couple of minutes, and all the lines and fine lines come out in your face. Do one final press, and then we're gonna go into powder. So this is all the cream products. This is our base. This is pretty much what it's gonna look like. This is the new product, the Perfect Matte Powder by Annabelle. I highly recommend that you try this powder because I have a few, but this one especially, it's such a great across the board product because it's translucent, so anyone can use it. It's not going to add any kind of white cast. It's really kind of sets down your makeup in a very translucent way. And using a tiny little eyeshadow blending brush, I'm going to set under the eyes. You want to use a minimal amount of powder here, so go in as many times as you need to in your palette, but try to use the least amount of powder as possible if you try this technique, and start with a small brush. Moving forward, you're going to see my brushes get bigger and bigger, but starting this technique out with because I'm so used to being so heavy-handed with powders as a baker, so you want to try this with a very small amount of product and just set under the eyes, around the nose, or your whole nose if you get really oily on your nose. I'm going to go around the smile lines of my mouth because there I get creasing, and a little bit on the center of the forehead, and then I'm going to step into a bigger brush and do a very thin layer kind of all over that T-zone. But this right here is pretty much the only setting that we're going to do. A little bit on the front of the brows as well so they're not too slippery, and then going into this big BH Cosmetics brush, I'm going to add a little bit of powder, flick off the excess, and just tap down the forehead, the nose, the cheeks, and around the mouth, especially the chin. You don't want to have like a shiny chin. You can add highlight to your chin like I do, but you don't want it to be like glossy. You want it to be like shimmery. Do you know what I mean? So here you can add as much or as little or as a lot, I don't know how to say that, powder as you like. And once you're all set down, I'm going to go in and just press the creases out of the eyelids with my finger before I set that down with, we're going to use an eyeshadow today from the Madison Beer and Morphe palette. I love this palette as a go-to. It's such a great kind of, this color scheme is pretty much everything I like in eyeshadows for an everyday. So just using this bone colored shadow, we're going to set the lids. You could do this with your powder if you want. It's just I had a translucent powder, so I really wanted to make it creamy. I just took the foundation off my lips and put put lip gloss on because my lips were getting dry. Going into bronzer, the Milani bronzer, such a huge fan of this product lately. My God. It's the only thing that ever got me off the Physicians Formula butter bronzer, which is still an amazing one. I have to like throw it back on the channel just for fun because it's been so long since I used it. but bronzers like last forever, right? So once you kind of fall for one, that's it. Going back into the same bronzer, we're going to use that to start contouring out the eye. We're not going to do a whole lot in the eye, but it is going to be quite effective. So just using the bronzer that we used and a big fluffy blending brush for eyeshadow, we're going to start the crease. This is a super simple, super quick eye look that's just really effective. And because we used our bronzer, we can contour the nose a little bit with this brush as well. Now this eyeshadow from Lise Watier, you can replicate this look using any kind of like glittery eyeshadow that you have. I love these little small pots from Lise Watier because they are super shimmery, but the glitter is so finely milled that it's not chunky or anything. Like you could use this as a highlighter. It really is that fine. They are pretty pricey, but I've had this for a bajillion years and I'll probably never ever finish it. So as you can see, I'm using it all over the face as well. And then just going back in and blending out the crease to make sure that shimmer is blended. We're gonna add one more color to the eyes. Using this chocolate brown first though, I'm gonna contour under the eyes. I love to do this at this point because it just helps create shape when I'm adding anything more to the top lid. So this is kind of like, instead of a wing, I'll do something like this and just pull it out a little bit in the corners because it kind of gives you that lifted look. So if you've never tried doing a little bit of eyeshadow under your eyes like this, highly recommend. You can do it with an eyeliner, you can do it with a shadow. I always do it with a shadow because I like the way it blends. If you want more high impact though, you can add a little bit of liner to your waterline and then blend with a shadow. Gorgeous. I've been doing this technique for as long as I can remember. And this brush, don't ask me where I got it because I've had it literally since I was a teenager. Okay, so going into this darker sort of mauve-y purple shimmer, I'm going to add this to the outer corner. So we put the Lise Watier kind of glitter shimmer shadow all over the lid. And now we're going to deepen it up a little bit so it's got sort of a cast. And then that's it. That's going to be the whole eyeshadow look. Mascara now, lash sensation. Why can't I speak? I'm looking at my cat wanting to jump on the counter and I'm like, do it. I dare you. Anyways, Lash Sensational from Maybelline, Black is Black. I hate waterproof mascara, so it's not the waterproof one. I've been using this forever. It doesn't transfer. It doesn't flake. It's my favorite. I do 2 coats on the top and then I do the bottom. Sometimes I do 2 coats on the bottom too. It just depends how much oomph I'm getting. Going back into the highlighting brush that we used, I just like to blend everything out at this point one last time. And then we do brows. Today, keeping it real simple, just using the Essence Brow Gel. I guess there wasn't that many Essence products in this. I don't know why I thought there was going to be so many in the intro. So apologies. I do have a ton of Essence products coming for you guys and e.l.f. I have like pretty much a full face of e.l.f. because it's super viral right now. So expect that. Make sure you're subscribed if you haven't subscribed already. And then here's the real impact of this look. Look at the before and after of this moment. So look at the face and then we're going to add blush. So this is the whole kind of vibe that I was going for today. It's why I contoured the eyes with cream contour, is to add this blush up and around the temples like this to give that really kind of like flowery, youthful. It's just a really pretty blush technique that I think a lot of people, it would flatter a lot of different face shapes when you kind of really bring it up the side of the eye and the temple. Love it. Been loving it. Can't wait to try it with cream blush as well. So again, look out for that e.l.f. tutorial coming. One last layer of highlighter and we are calling it a day. Essence Pure Nude Highlighter. Been using it for years, especially for an everyday highlighter. It is so flattering on the skin. Whether it's fluorescence or direct light or low light, I find that this highlighter never, ever does me wrong. Going in with a bronzer brush just to do one last blending of the bronzer and the highlighter, and that's it. That's the whole look. Super effective, clean, easy to do. You could change up the eyeshadows to any tones or quality that you like. So thank you for stopping by. I'll see you on the next one.